Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Our Tuesday Pro Line Balls live Q&A. And this is for every parent, every student athlete, um, really hoping that we get some questions. I do this each and every Tuesday so that we can get some questions answered. Week by week, we keep getting great questions. I have a whole list that was sent to me throughout the week, and everybody is anticipating August 1st. And I think it's really, a very, very special time. It can be a very emotional time. And we're going to cover a lot of that here tonight. So I really encourage you, as you're joining me live, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on X, formerly known as Twitter, and Facebook, I encourage you, let me know where you're from. First and foremost, I would encourage you, if you're watching on X or you're watching on Facebook, please do me a favor. Find your way over to YouTube at some point. Give this video a thumbs up. Engage. Tell me where you're watching from. This week, I'm going to ask you who your favorite team is. Last week, I got a lot of great favorite players, but this week, I want to ask you, what is your who is your favorite team? It should be baseball, but it doesn't have to be baseball. It couldn't be college. It can be pro. Heck, it can even be high school or the dreaded travel ball world. First and foremost, want to encourage you to subscribe. That is free. I get a lot of questions this week about the Pro Line ball, and I want to let parents know whether you're training with regard to hitting, fielding, catching, anything that requires you to have a ball and you have to utilize velocity, whether that be out of a machine or a bat or a racket of some kind. You want to make sure you're being safe. The Pro Line ball is the most durable training ball. Bobby Witt Jr., Alex Brome, MJ Melendez of the Royals, they train with the Pro Line ball. My son Tyler, as well as his partner Matt Tabor at the Lions Den, they used exclusively the Pro Line balls in all their hack attacks, and they use it for catching drills. They use it for infield drills. They use it for, obviously, hitting drills. So I encourage you, go over to prolineballs.com, and you'll be able to get those training balls. They're the best. Next, want to let parents and athletes understand. Let's say hello to a few people. Mike, thank you for Phillies. Christopher, Colorado. Coach Hurdle will be very happy that you heard that. Will, thank you again for sharing. On that note of sharing, Will, thank you. I want to ask you to do me a favor over the next few weeks, especially during the latter half of the summer here. If you're on X, please share or retweet. It used to be called, I don't know what we call it now with X. I'm really trying to grow the brand, the network, trying to grow the YouTube channel, have a lot of great content coming up. I want to let parents know, all the members to the channel. Just spoke today with Coach Trent Mongero, infield, the elite infield coach in the country. Elite hitting instructor to a lot of big leaguers. Nolan Arenado used to do with Albert Pujols. Trey Hanneman, he's going to be talking hitting. Pitching, we're going to be talking to Lions Den, Tyler Beede, Matt Tabor. Strength, nutrition, all of the conditioning required for baseball. Going to be talking to Cressy Performance and Fairchild Performance, two of the best of the best. Mental Performance, you've heard her, you've talked to her. I know a lot of people are utilizing her in today's world. Tamara Seaman. So we're going to have a lot of great content. Obviously, the Coach's Corner content will continue each and every week. I'm talking to coaches, all levels, all divisions, and they're really offering some great insight. Spoke to a lot this week to kind of get me up to speed with where they are with regard to August 1st. And we're going to start there. Want to say hello to everyone. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate that. Sam, thank you very much. Sam, the discussion point today is you have to leave me your favorite team. But August 1st, let's talk a little bit about this. Yes, it's a very exciting time. as a family, this is part of a parent process as much as it is for the student athlete. I know we always talk about taking accountability for your own recruiting process with regard to the student athletes. But as many as you know, I don't work off of a script. I don't have a lot of bells and whistles. I don't have things flying across the screen. I don't write on a bulletin board and, exclamation, exclamation. I am Italian, so I do talk with my hands, much to my wife's dismay. But I do want to let you as parents know this is a family process. This is a massive, massive decision that college coaches do not take lightly. Yes, your student athlete is the one that's going to be recruited. Yes, they're the ones that are going to put on a college uniform. But you are now starting to prepare for what is the most challenging part of being a parent, which is once you teach them to fly and they leave the nest, it can be a little lonely in that nest. So it's definitely a process. So when we start talking about this, please understand, I do not take this process lightly. I went through this with two. My sons now are 34 and 32. And when they went off to college, a lot of dynamics changed. The car rides weren't as frequent. The talk around the dinner table was non-existent. And, they kind of went off and they were accountable and responsible, with regard to their processes within becoming a college student and then college athlete. And so there are two distinct, parts of this process. I'm going to start with many parents. The big event that just wrapped up down in Lake Point, Georgia, the Futures event. That's kind of the summer, and I know this is going to sound silly, but it's the summer kickoff for college coaches and high school athletes, with particularly the rising sophomores and juniors at the Futures event. But for many of you that did not attend the Futures event, April 1st is just the start of the process. And I think it's really, really important to understand. For instance, I talked with Greg Mamula at Delaware, and Greg very graciously shared with me that, he texts a lot of the kids and lets them know that he'll be in contact. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. A lot of coaches that want to kind of begin a process. Sometimes it can begin early. It can begin midnight on August 1st. Other times it will take a few days. And oftentimes there will be some scenarios where we don't get the text, we don't get the email, we don't get the call. I want to make sure that you, as a parent of the latter, that might be a student athlete, may still be developing, maybe has not really been out on the proverbial circuit. Don't worry. This isn't like a drop dead date. This is just the beginning, meaning that whether it's in a fall event or in the spring of 26, your athletes can be contacted. August 1st is the date for the rising junior class, in this case, 2027s. So I really wouldn't get paralyzed if the phone doesn't ring or the text doesn't happen or the emails don't occur. We're really looking, as we've talked about repeatedly with regard to the process, it's different times. Um, you know, and, one of the things that you must understand is that even though many of you that are athletes in the 27 and 28 class have grown up with the process of being hyper aggressive early, the 8th, 9th, and 10th grade kids getting recruited, those days, they are over and they are not going to return. And so, what I want you to understand is the process is a very slow, deliberate, and the key operative word that every coach now uses is thorough. They have to be thorough with regard to knowing the athlete. What type of young man is he? What type of young athlete? What type of academic? How do they respond to adversity? Evaluation now is personal, meaning before they might have taken someone's word for it, but now coaches need to put eyeballs on athletes multiple times. Gone are the days of when a showcase or a tournament somebody would light up a radar gun or hit a ball, one at bat. Now they want to see it multiple times. They want all of the coaches to kind of see these players so that they can all uh, provide their evaluation, an independent evaluation. They have become more reliant on trusted resources. And I think that's very important to understand, meaning the circle now is no longer will a college coach do somebody a solid by putting a guy on a roster. These roster limits or roster caps really make it a challenge for college coaches with regard to roster construction. And so now what we have is we really have a process where the athletes and the coaches have to get to know each other. They're evaluating each other. It's a longer, and I'm going to use this word. I know a lot of guys don't really know this word, but courtship. There's a lot of really moving parts to this now. A lot of it, obviously, portal, JUCO. But here's an interesting dynamic, and I want to kind of start here, is we are being told, and rightfully so, that the portal and the JUCO graduate are an integral part of team construction. But a lot of coaches, Reggie Christensen, Sacramento State. We've talked to Chris Shank at Southern New Hampshire, NCAA Division II. We've talked to Salisbury, Division III, national ranked program year in and year out. They like their foundation to be 4-year high school students, that graduating high school senior, and then being part of that culture. And contrary to popular belief, college coaches aren't looking to, kick younger players out. They're looking to build with those programs and become pillars and foundation pieces. And so the issue here is, are you preparing to become a foundational piece? Meaning, are you getting your body ready? And a great question when I'm working with parents, and every parent and every student athlete feels like, yeah, I'm ready for the next level. And I used to, kind of, okay, that's fine. But now I really make them stop, and I'll say to them, okay, we're at the end of July. What has your student athlete done in the weight room, or with regard to foot speed, or with regard to skill set development? What have they done to enhance that particular facet of their game? Are they stronger? Are they faster? Are they developing skill, or did they just play? Now, all these people that want to scream from the top of the mountain, playing makes you better. No, not all. That doesn't all the time. At some point, you have to address the elephant that is now squarely in the room, and that is the college coaches saying, I need you to be physical. I need you to be fast. I need you to be talented or skilled. Okay, when is that going to occur? And for those of you that instantly say, oh, fall, I'm going to get in the weight room in the fall. Fall is when I'm going to start in the weight room. Okay, you're going to play fall baseball, or you're playing football, or you're playing soccer, or you're playing lacrosse. Okay, at some point, we have to begin to address the fact that when you are a college athlete, you are lifting out of season, you are lifting in season, you are lifting during the fall, the winter, the spring, the summer. Obviously, there's in-season workouts, off-season workouts. But this is really a topic. Again, I'm reiterating and repeating, but this is a topic for August 1st. So let's just start with August 1st. Canes, go Canes. Keith, what's happening, Keith? Now, I know and Tanner, welcome aboard. I want parents to understand Keith has gone through the transfer portal with his son, Trace. It's a tough process. Everybody thinks they're going to find a home in the portal. It doesn't quite work that way. So, what is August 1st? What's the contact period? So I want parents to understand that the contact period was put in place to bring sanity back to a really messed up process that kind of went unchecked. There were no checks and balances from say 2007-ish, 2006-ish through 2023, I believe, or 2022. And that was that, it kind of got a little ridiculous. We're asking 14 and 15-year-olds to make these decisions, and then as they got older, there might have been a coaching change. So it really created chaos because, coaches had to adjust and adapt, or else they were at risk of losing some of the more younger, talented players. Now they've kind of gone in the direction of the college softball world. College softball is September 1st, not August 1st, but it allows for everybody to have the same guidelines, the same rules that are in place. Now, the next thing I want parents to understand with the roster caps, it is important for you as parents to understand that the vast majority of college athletic programs are still working Division I with 11.7. NCAA Division II is working with 9. And so it's very, very important to understand that not all Division I colleges are going to work with full 34-man scholarships. Obviously, SEC, ACC, some of the Big 12, some of the Big 10 will do that. It's important for you to understand and ask that question. Next, DSA, designated student athlete. Also important to understand that cold weather schools, they're probably not going to be so inclined to go over the 34 roster cap. Every school's going to be different. It is going to ultimately boil down to the schools that have the money versus schools that don't have, the fiscal ability to, from a Title IX perspective. So, this August 1st, you want to be able to ask the questions about, okay, what is there scholarships available? What type of roster are you carrying? Will you be firm at the 34? Are you going to be carrying DSA students? That's going to affect your juniors that by the time they are going into the fall of 2027, by the time they are going into college, you want to know, okay, some of these 25s that have been designated, and I guarantee you there's a lot of 25s that have been designated as DSAs. These are the types of questions that you really want to have and ask your college coach. The other part of this equation is please understand college coaches now more than ever are not looking to rush to make decisions. So your process may be substantially slower than a former high school teammate or someone on your travel team. Do not gauge the speed at which these college coaches are trying to offer you. In your mind, you have to focus on the engagement. And now more than ever, if you're a rising junior and you get a call from a Division II or Division III, maybe you get a call and there's no restrictions from NAIA, but maybe an NAIA program, again, they do not follow the same August 1st, kind of recruiting criteria. In fact, their recruiting criteria is very, very substantially different than NCAA. But my point is, when a college coach contacts you as a student athlete in any capacity, short of a smoke signal, make sure you're doing your best to engage with that coach. You don't know the program, you want to ask and find out about the program. Where do they feel that you're a fit for that program? Have they seen you play? What's the proper process? Do they need you to go to a camp? All these questions should be written down on a paper so that you don't miss a question. And regardless of the level or the division, even if they're not, that name recognizable program, if a college coach of any level or division is taking the time to give you a call, a text, an email, common courtesy would dictate that you would respond. Don't delete. And at no point should you say to any coach that is reaching out to you, no, thank you, I'm not interested. Unless academically, they don't have your major, and it truly is not a fit for your educational purposes. If that is the case, if you say, I am looking to major criminal justice, architecture, actuary math, pre med, pre law, and you ask, Coach, I'm looking to be an engineer. Do you have an engineering program? I'm sorry, we don't. Okay, at that point, you would be able to say, I'm sorry, but it doesn't fit. So understand that the questions that are important to you, you should take the time to write down and have them and ask the coaches that do take the time to reach out to you. Some coaches, as I alluded to earlier, will text you to say, over the next couple days, I'll be reaching out. Is there a good day or time for me to reach out? Please respond with times that you can make yourself available. I think that's very, very important. Lots of questions here tonight. Watching from Florida. Thank you, Mr. TFS. Mike Sherritt. I tune in all the time. What's realistic for 2026 grads as it relates to Division I window closing for? Okay, Mike, I want to answer this question, and I'll go back to my thought process here. Mike is asking about realistic window closing for recruiting process, such as Patriot League, Ivy League, non-Power 4. How's that? Okay, there is no recruiting window that closes. That's the number one thing I want parents to understand. When you're going through this process, we all envision this clock going on behind us with the sand dial, and the sand is winding down, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I have worked with athletes, true story. Connor Fennell, now at Vanderbilt, did not have a home. He graduated in May. He had no college. He was going to do a post-grad year, Division I school. Coach King at Dayton University saw him pitching in an event, offered him a scholarship. He was gone, and he was on the campus 2 weeks later. There's no such thing. Now, most schools, with regard to college baseball, do have a thing called rolling admissions. I want to talk to the high academic people. If you're looking for ED1, early decision 1 and 2, early action, or the conventional regular admissions process, some schools, especially at the higher level academically, do have those processes. But with regard to baseball recruiting, there is no such thing as too late. Meaning, if you're a high school graduate in 2026, and you feel, for whatever reason, I think I'm a Division I caliber player, and we've talked about all the tiers and things like that in the past, and you can find that in some of my prior discussions. But if you feel like, listen, I'm a good pitcher, I think I'm 86, 87, but I think coming up in the off season, physical maturation, I'm going to get my skill set, I think I can be in that 88, 91 window. Okay, don't worry about it. You'll be able to go to a winter camp. You'll be able to pitch for your high school team in the spring. I promise you, if you have ability and skill, there are ways for colleges to get you through that admissions process. It happens. Obviously, Ivy Leagues, it's a little bit more challenging. I think their window with regard to like portal is like June 15th. But my point is if you're at 2026, and you're like, oh man, you're talking about 27s. What about us? We're over here. We're 26. No need to panic. The number one thing to understand is this: college coaches are constantly looking to upgrade talent. So if you are an athlete and you're now at the high school level, I need you to really, really begin to understand. And mom and dad, I'm really talking to you. This whole 16U, 17U, I won't even talk about 15U. That's garbage. But the 16, 17, what? If you're telling me you want to play college baseball, you should be trying to. I just went to a Legion tournament this week. Tremendous talent at the Legion level. That's a story for another day. But my point is, take the time to get your evaluation, to find out where you're deficient. Begin to compete in your mind against a peer group that is now 20 to 24. You're not competing against other high school recruits. Again, I want to state this clearly. if you're in high school, you're actually competing with JUCO athletes and portal athletes that are going to be freshmen in college this fall in 2025, or or college freshmen from 2024. If you're at 26, those are the guys you're competing with to play college baseball. And so what I want you to understand is Division III, NCAA, they're looking for guys that are falling down from Division I, and in some cases Division II. Division III and Division II have a lot of developmental teams, a lot of JV teams. Parents, you need to ask those questions. Hi, my name is Walter Beede. I'm the head coach at Salve Regina. I know Eric Sorella is the head coach there, but I'm calling you to see, I saw you play Legion this past weekend in Fall River, and I'm calling to find out if you would have any interest in Salve Regina. Well, I'm really trying to go to UConn, BC, all of those schools, Central Connecticut. Okay, that's not what the coach wants to hear. What the response should be, Coach, I really appreciate you taking the time to give me a call. I'd love to know a little bit more about Salve Regina, what type of majors they have, and what city is that located in. That's a heck of a lot better than saying, at this time I'm not considering Division III, because that tells the college coach that you really haven't done any homework. That's first and foremost. But Mike, I really want to thank you for that question. That's a great question, and I want you to understand there is no window that's closing, especially with regard to the Patriot League, the MAC. That is a big time academic conference. So you're talking about Eddie Kahovic, you're talking about AJ Miller at Lafayette, Sean at Lehigh. You really want to and Scott Heather at Bucknell. You really want to have an understanding that those schools are elite academic. And so if you're taking care of business in the classroom and you feel like your skill sets, that's when you want to begin to understand, okay, where am I with regard to my strength, my size, my skill, and my speed? And then most importantly where's my academics? Where's my school? Because if that fits for you, those schools, they don't over-recruit, and they are looking for that strong academic student athlete. So your runway going into this fall, be a very good communicator, Mike, and be proactive with that. Okay, parents, well, I appreciate that, Keith. I don't know if anybody could read that, but one of the things that I want parents to understand that find their way to this, and Keith, I'm really appreciative of that comment. You hear me on here talking. I certainly don't do all the high-level editing. I certainly don't do all the, it's actually a detriment. It's detrimental to the YouTube channel because most people tune out after 10 minutes. I certainly don't think that people will watch from beginning to end. I try to be as informative as I can. But one of the things I really want you to understand, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I'm a dad, and now I'm grandfather. And as a 62-year-old, I just had this conversation with my son and my wife today. The windshield is a lot smaller than the rear view. The rear view has got a lot of runway back behind me, and out here in front, not so much. And what I want parents to understand is I have been doing this for 38 years because I love it. Here's the thing I want parents to know. Got a great text today from Sue Lyons. Her son, Patrick, is in the Air Force Academy. He's a freshman, and they've been working with me for about 2-3 years. And now they have a younger son that's starting the process. And Susan's exact words to me were, we're just going to follow the script. We're going to follow the script that you gave Patrick, and we're going to just follow that to the T. And what I want parents to take away from that, it's not so much about a braggart about what I do and how I do. And I'm good at what I do. I'm very good at what I do. And the biggest thing is I don't infringe on my relationships. I don't try to call a coach and try to say, hey, I need you to do me this. Or not. No. I evaluate young men. I evaluate young women with regard to softball, and I really give them honest feedback. And if I feel, I have many athletes that are doing Division III this year. I have many athletes that do postgraduate school. But my point is, what Keith is alluding to here is you must have a plan, especially between the ages of 13 and 18. Has to have a plan. You have to know where your foundation is and make sure you understand. Doesn't matter how good you are athletically as a 12 or 13 or 14-year-old. It matters if you're preparing properly to become a college student athlete, or ultimately if you're trying to chase it at a little bit higher. But Keith, thank you so much for taking the time to share that. Got another question, and I really want to make sure that we talk about this thing. What can you as parents expect? I have a great question here. Jimmy, thank you so much for this. Parents and athletes, what can you expect during this process? Eric Lamb, yes, I work with high school softball players. Yes, I do. Softball is a very different animal, and, I'm not going to go down that road here tonight, but I do on occasion. What can you expect? Well, you can expect college coaches to be much more conservative. They're going to be much more relaxed. They're not going to throw out drop dead dates. Now, if you are being asked as a junior in high school to make a decision within a small, finite period of time, probably not a good situation, meaning you're going to want to take a visit. And so I always try to get parents and student athletes to understand, what are your expectations for when this process does begin? I have parents that have gone 2 years, the junior and senior year, nothing, zero. Young man from Dallas, Texas, Jesuit high school. For 2 years as a junior and senior, maybe a few JUCOs in Texas. We had a plan. We developed that plan. And then 2 weeks ago, just 2 weeks ago, his world totally changed. Offers from NYU, Bucknell, Lafayette, Lehigh, Penn, Dartmouth, Brown. My point is, the process, what you are expecting to happen, will probably not happen. But when you least expect it, and it begins because of all of your hard work, you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared with your questions. So expectations, keep them low. If you get a lot of calls or you get a lot of text, try to make sure you return every call, every text or email. Say thank you. If it's a school that you definitively feel does not fit your academic criteria, as well as maybe your geographical criteria, okay. But don't go crossing teams out because you're all about wanting Division I JUCO, Division I NAIA, Division I NCAA. Those days are officially done. Elite, high level athletes at all levels. All you have to do is watch Pro Radar Baseball. Okay, and he'll tell you this guy's going from JUCO to Division I. This guy's going Division II to Division I, Division I to Division II, Division I to Division III. A lot of athletes are going to Division III. Division III, it's safe to say, is the new JUCO. I think all levels of college baseball that are not in the Division I tier of NJCAA, NAIA, or NCAA, I think all levels, Division II or Division III, with regard to the NCAA and JUCO, they're all one big JUCO or minor leagues, for lack of a better term. The number one portion of what to expect is you should see how you interact with a coach. How does that feel? Is the coach really knowledgeable about who you are and what your skill set is, or where they feel your skill set is going to be? We put this grand message up there about, okay, the recruiting process. Okay, the recruiting process is different for every single student athlete and every single college coach. Some college coaches like to use it as a way of introduction. I'd like to see who you are. I want you to see who we are. We'd like you to take your time and visit. Tell us about your process, Tyler Beede. What is your process? Do you have an answer for that question? What's important to you, Tyler Beede, with regard to college? What's important to you with regard to baseball, academics, geographics, all of the things? So you have to be prepared to answer questions that you may be not thinking of. For instance, do you want a major metropolitan city? Do you want an urban campus, et cetera, et cetera? So I think it's really important. Legion tournament in Delaware, 2 games were walk-offs. Another was a one-hit shutout, mostly 2025 high school grads. Okay, here's what, Robert, Bingo. So this just came in right on cue. Legion tournament here in Delaware, 2 games were walk-offs. Another was a one-hit shutout. Mostly 2025 high school grads and college freshmen. Legion talent is exceptional. Now, I do not know Robert. I do not want to take credit for that question, that response, but I will tell you the reason why Legion baseball and the family that I just talked to you about, Susan Lyons, her son now, freshman at the Air Force Academy in Colorado, he played Legion ball last year, and they were so nervous and so skeptical. But then when they played Legion baseball, this was his rising senior fall, going into his rising senior year, that they didn't think anybody recruited out of it. But the talent level, and again, there are exceptions. I get that. But Legion is allowing athletes. I have a young man in Massachusetts here. He's 15 years old. He was going to play 15U baseball. He played Legion. His team consisted of high school juniors, seniors, and college freshmen. You think he's doing the right thing with his dream, with regard to his dream to play college baseball? You betcha he is. And that is what's missing. We're chasing the old narrative, and we're not thinking about the new reality. And the new reality is Legion baseball. It stands for something. There's a purpose. There's a tryout. They can only carry, I believe the rule is still 18 players. So kids have to be cut. And so it's more of literally almost a carbon copy of what's about to happen with regard to not only your high school varsity team, but your college process as well. I mean, I went to the College World Series last year in North Carolina, and I can tell you, I watched teams from Alabama. I watched teams from Mississippi. I mean, I saw some really elite talent, California, and these kids can absolutely play. And there's a lot of versatile athletes, pitchers who played shortstop in the outfield. It really is consistent with development and what it really takes to get between the lines within college baseball. I think that's very, very important. And so I'm going to answer another question. Okay. I'm going to say this, and I want to just prepare people to understand. These questions are random. I don't know who's going to join me and who's going to submit a question. Good afternoon, Coach. I got a call from a representative from NCAA about my son. Do you know what they do for players? We have a call set up for this Thursday. I am going to tell you, Mr. Flacco, and I'm going to say this with a lot of respect. NCAA is perfect game. And it is a service that you do not need. I can't say this loud enough. I cannot say this loud enough. These people are sold territories. These people are given a book to kind of go through with a script. These people, all they do is collect money. They collect parents' money. And then they send out brainless emails. Dear coach at Salisbury, I have a player. Please, for the love of God, run the other way. If you get a call, an email, a text, a smoke signal from any of those services, please. And here's the other one I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to digress for 1 minute. If somebody's reaching out to you via social media, via a DM, and telling you, you know, you remind me a lot of me, like myself, when I was in high school, and I'm going to give you $1,000 off. Parents, recruiting services that are not individual specific, that do not have any history with regard to all facets of this process, meaning development while they're in high school, and then the secondary types of schools, whether that be post-grad, and I'm talking about academic post-grad, not schools that are baseball academies and they're postgraduate schools, JUCOs. There's so much to this process that cannot be done or blueprinted as a business. If your son is a student athlete, I can tell you there's a lot of boys in the portal right now, and they did not find a home, and they're not going to find a home. And I worked with portal athletes all across the country. some very high-profile portal athletes last year that nobody wanted to touch, but we worked, and now this year they're Cape Cod League All-Stars. That's a fact. I've been doing this a long time. Parents, you're being pulled into this vortex of the Wizard of Oz of college recruiting. There is nothing those people can do for your student athlete if they're not strong enough, if they're not fast enough, if they're not skilled enough, and they're not smart enough. So I don't care how much you pay. You cannot pay someone to get your student athlete into college. It doesn't work that way. So when you have August 1st looming and you're at 2027, or you're about to enter your senior year in high school, or you're at 2028 and you're a sophomore, and somebody tells you as a parent, let's have an interview, run. Educate yourself. For the love of goodness, I have over 1,000 videos in my playlist that are free. Most of them are free that you can learn a heck of a lot after listening to college coach after college coach after college coach. I cannot stress that enough. And it really aggravates me because I had a parent that paid $10,000, not going to tell you who, $10,000. That was a 2024 student athlete that graduated. And then they never heard from him again. And the kids, the athletes, like to call that ghosting. I call that being ripped off. $10,000. Oh, my goodness. And then if you're going to pay $7,500 or $6,500 for the platinum plan, it really aggravates me. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going off the deep end here. You're being sold based on your dream and your desire to help your student athlete. But in reality, all you're doing is being dragged ultimately through a scrapbook, and your scrapbook will not have many happy photos in it, because at the end of the day, you're going to end up at a school that's going to be within an hour to 2 hours of your house. That's going to be a school that, okay, well, I could have gone here without your help. Exactly. If you're not taking an academic approach and you're putting all your eggs in the athletic basket, I got a big news flash for you. If the 22-year-old to 23 and 4-year-old are ahead of your son, they're going to play because they're more mature. There's nothing you can buy. There's no pill you can take. Mother Nature, the big guy upstairs, mom and dad, all put this into your student athlete, and they have to simply grow up. But are they helping themselves nutritionally, sleep-wise, strength training, skill set? At the end of the day, when you look in that mirror, what have you done today to be better than you were yesterday? Don't look for somebody that left and right. There's no pill to take. There's nobody that's going to wave a wand. You have to put the work in, brick by brick, day by day. Here's the number one acronym that when my boys were little, and I'm talking 5 and 6, they used to always hear me say to my high school teams and my college teams, you all have one of these. It's an ear. You have to control effort, attitude, routine. Your ear is yours, no one else's. Everybody might have a couple of them, but your ear is an individual to you. Effort, attitude, routine. That's what it takes. So NCSA, all these other recruiting services, they cannot do magic. This is somebody having the intestinal fortitude to look you in the eye and tell your athlete what he needs to hear. And I have a couple parents right now, and they don't like what I'm saying to their seniors and their rising seniors. Do you want to hear it from me now with a runway for you to use that information and get better? Or do you want to wait until you run into a brick wall on a college campus and they tell you in November, sorry, but you're not big enough, you're not strong enough, you're not skilled enough? I know lots of boys that have had that happen. It's the fact, it's the reality. And the sad state of affairs is that people want to buy, they want you to buy your son's dreams. And that's what that whole process is all about. these people that charge you ridiculous amounts of money, all for the hope. Now, I will tell you, there's people like Merville Melendez, former Alabama state coach, former FIU head coach, Doug Minkiewicz, former Florida State 11-year, 13-year major league veteran. They're in this space. They're darn good at what they do. Merville has two sons, one that's a big leaguer with the Royals, and Doug played in the big leagues for 13 years. Those guys know what they're doing. NCSA is some guy who sold a vacuum 5 years ago, and now he just bought a franchise to sell NCSA. Have you ever seen a Perfect Game Scout? Take a good look at a Perfect Game Scout. Get back to me. Most of them never played. That's the problem. We take advice from people that didn't play the game, that didn't coach the game. Some guys are really good analytically. I get that. But at the end of the day, this process requires relationships. If I call a college coach, they have the common courtesy to say, Walt, what do you have on this young man? Walt, I'm looking for a catcher. Walt, I need a right-handed pitcher. I go to showcases. I'm not going to name showcases. I go to all these tournaments that you all go to, and I can tell you 90% of those athletes have no shot at ever playing college baseball. None. No level, no division, they don't. But yet they're being told they do, and they pay, and they pay, and they pay. Wouldn't you rather know this at 13, 14, 15 so that you're prepared when you're 16 and 17? So on your August 1st, you're ready to be recruited. You struck a nerve with me there, Captain, and I really appreciate that. But Mr. Flacco, if I were you, I would run and run very, very fast. What advice would you have for a 27 4.0 GPA from East Texas? Okay. Jade, I don't know you, but my sons live in your neck of the world, and I'm going to tell you this. August 1st, parents, I want you to understand the goal here is to trade athletic ability for the academic experience. If you tell me that your son is not that good of a student and really doesn't need a degree, you just want him to play college baseball, I get it. But college is about the collective experience. And whether you're going to a JUCO, an NAIA school, an NCAA school, doesn't matter. It's about 4 years of growth, 4 years of maturity. It's the final frontier of being a kid. Because I'm going to tell you something. As I've stated many, many times, my parents passed away when I was very young. I lived on my own, paying my own rent, food, telephone as a 16-year-old, living off my dad's Social Security, $343.17. That's a fact. You can look that up. And I had 2 jobs. The real world, when we're kids, we want to be older. I can't wait to grow up. I can't wait to grow up. I can't wait to go to college. And then you get out of college, and what do you think? Man, real world. I got to pay rent. I got a car payment. I got a cell phone bill. So my point to you is the game is allowing you to trade athletic ability for an education, whether it's a life education, an academic education, a specific area of academic, whether it's law, medical, etc. That's what we're trying to do. So if you really, truly, honest to goodness, have a student athlete that is good in school, welcomes the opportunity to go to a great school and get a great education and get a great experience, don't chase. Choose. Have a plan. What's the academic major? How do you want it? What schools are of interest to you? I open doors. I provide access. I don't do recruiting service because the recruiting service is just, like I said, it's a scrapbook. They collect different athletes, and this year they're turning pages for 26s and 27s. And next year they'll start turning pages for 27s and 28s. You have to get to know who these guys are. I have to be able to look at an athlete. The young man I just alluded to from Dallas, he was a catcher and a first baseman. I had to look him in the eye and say, hey, you should pitch. I don't want to pitch. Okay, well, you should pitch. And if you pitch, this is what's going to happen. And then also his transcript, not that good. When I say not that good, for the Ivy Leagues and for NYU, guess what? He's going to Phillips Exeter. Guess what? NYU's offered him a scholarship. Guess what? He's a pitcher. Okay, sometimes it requires people to have tough conversations, not to be argumentative, not to be disrespectful, but trying to get you to understand, here's your leverage. You have a strong GPA. You have strong test scores. Whether schools are test optional or not, That is your leverage. And oh, by the way, you do this really well as a baseball player. All right, let's go find a school that fits your geographical area of interest, your academic area of interest, and let's get in front of those coaches. Let's maybe we can. I just got two boys, one's from Canada and another young man from Florida. They're getting full scholarships to go to a school, a postgraduate school that costs $80,000 a year. What's that worth? And I'm not talking about baseball. I'm talking about life, global faculty, global student body, experience about becoming a student on a campus before you have to go to college and experience that. And oh, by the way, you're not repeating your 12th grade year. You're actually taking courses that will transfer into a college. And it's looked very highly on by the Patriot League, the Ivy League, the Nest Cats, the Little Ivies, the John Hopkins, etc. There's so much more to this than just putting an arbitrary date when everybody gets very fearful. And then in swoops the NCSA folks and all the other recruiting agencies. I know you're not getting recruited. I can help you. Spend this amount of money and we'll help you get to college. Yeah, right. I want parents, are some positions more recruitable than others? Bobby Walton. I know this depends on specific needs. For example, would coaches prefer a good fielding shortstop or a fast center fielder? Okay, so now I want to hit this. Bobby, you are right on cue. Parents, I said this last week. When I talked to Trent Mangero, infield coach, when I talked to Trey Hanneman, hitting coach, when I talked to all the college coaches, I want you to understand, and I'm definitely long-winded here tonight, but I want you to understand, they are looking for athletes. They are looking for elite athletes, meaning most schools are going to always recruit in this order: 1, pitching, 1A pitching, 1B pitching, strike throwers, pitching, strike throwers, strike throwing pitchers. So this is not a big get to the 90 degree and the world will become yours. No, wrong. You have to have pitching pedigree. That's why when you listen to coaches talk about commanding 2 or more pitches, commanding a secondary that can be thrown in plus counts, when you start talking about durability, you have to understand pitching is always number 1. Number 2, they're recruiting center fielders and they're recruiting shortstops. Why? Because those are middle of the diamond guys. And guess what? Your slowest center fielder is going to go to right field, or the best center fielder arm strength. Whoever has the best arm strength as a center fielder, guess where they're going to go? Right field. The best hitting center fielder probably will go to left field, or the worst defender in the infield is going to go to left field. That's just a fact. Now, there are infielders that will become catchers. There are catchers that will become pitchers. Parents, you're taking all of these lessons in this jar, in this window, and you think he's just a shortstop. He's just a catcher. He's just a first baseman. Doesn't work for college coaches. Doesn't work. When a coach says, what's your best position? Coach, wherever I can get between the lines. Well, can you play outfield? Yes, I can. Can you play infield? Yes, I can. Can you catch? If you say yes, if you're an infielder and you say, oh, by the way, I can catch, your stock is going to go. Whoo. I have a left-handed hitting, right-handed throwing athlete from Canada who's going to the University of Evansville. He runs a 6'4", 60. He's an elite catcher with an elite pop time. He's an elite middle infielder playing second base, and he's an elite center fielder. This guy can hit, he can run, and he can throw. How versatile is that? He will play beyond college. You can bet on that. If you're a catcher, learn to play third. If you're a first baseman and you're not left-handed, learn how to play third base for the love of goodness. Increase your arm strength. Learn how to field ground balls. Make sure you're making yourself appealing to a college coach. Because if you say, I am only a shortstop, you're basically telling the college coach, me, I only play shortstop. Don't do that. Do not do that. My position is shortstop. Us, we, our, plural. So coaches want athletes. Be an athlete. Be strong, be fast, be skilled, be athletic. Learn how to move your feet. Also, while I'm on this topic, train your eyes. Please, for the love of goodness, train your eyes. Spend as much time as you do with regard to nutrition and strength and skill on your eyes. Eye-hand coordination as an infielder, as a catcher, as an outfielder, obviously as a hitter. Train your eyes. Sam, so my son's 10-year-old pitching coach is saying it's safe for him to throw cutter slider grips as long as he's not pronating super. Okay, what's the latest science on this? Sam, I'm just going to tell you this. I'm a parent of a pitcher. Um, you know, I don't know any 10-year-old that can not think about all those words that they're going to use. Super nation, pro nation. What 10-year-old? Those are 50-cent words. He's trying to learn how to spell business, and you're trying to talk to him, or the pitching coach is trying to talk to him about pronating and supinating and all this other stuff. Here's the deal, and I'll take a baseball. Baseball, simple. Learn how to throw this, learn how to throw this, and learn how to throw that as a 10-year-old. Throw strikes to all four quadrants. You don't need a slider or a cutter against 10-year-olds. 10-year-olds have a really tough time hitting an inside fastball consistently. If you can locate either glove side, your fastball glove side, 8 out of 10 times, you got a great pitcher. That's where I'd be spending my money and my time. And I did it in my son as a big leaguer. So I'm just telling you, any pitching coach that's telling your son to throw a cutter or a slider as a 10-year-old, I'm running the other way fast. How many players go beyond college to play baseball? How much do you want putting into your son? Okay. Here's the number one thing to understand. The draft is going to get smaller. Opportunities at professional baseball. Have you looked at your favorite major league team? Have you looked at the number of international players on that team? And I'm not just talking about Latin America. I'm talking about Asia, Australia, Canada. Just take a look around. I'm saying this again for the 100th time. High school baseball, your goal should try to be to extend your career for 4 or 5 more years. I do believe the 5th year is going to be added at some point. I do believe there's going to be big changes to college baseball in 2027. But you should be trading athletic ability for academic excellence. Whatever your version or interpretation of excellence is, that's what the goal should be. Less than 1%. This year's major league draft, less than 700 players. And I would say 74% of them were Division I baseball players. So all I want you to know as parents is at the end of the day, what you are ultimately doing is you are setting your son or daughter up for when they walk across the stage and they exhaust their athletic eligibility, that they are prepared and they have learned life lessons with mentors, coaches that have taught them more about life and a lot about baseball or softball. It's important that that's what you're seeking. You're seeking people that you want in your student athlete's corner when stuff goes bad, relationships fall apart, school is getting really tough, homesickness. You want mentors to teach them the value of constantly getting up. You're going to get knocked down a lot during 4 or 5 years of college. Trust me, you're going to get knocked down. You have to get back up. And college is about finding the right fit, the right coaches. Like I could give you stories after story after story, not only when I was coaching college, but all of these college coaches can tell you stories. Car doesn't start. My roommate is miserable. My girlfriend broke up with me. All kinds of stories. Divorce, parents going through a divorce. So the academic experience is so many different facets to that. So you should not be chasing baseball, because what if the coach leaves? What if the coach goes from a Division III team to a Division II team? Then what? What if you were told you were going to play and then suddenly the guy that they thought was going to get drafted or the guy that was going to go in the portal and he doesn't leave? Then what? College is about a really long process of evaluating the fit in every single piece of the college puzzle It's not just baseball. Playing minor league baseball is literally a minor miracle. Right now, today, minor league seasons, there's only AAA, AA, high A, and low A. There's a very good chance that low A will be consolidated, much like rookie ball in short season. Story for another time. Don't want to lose everybody. But my point is, becoming a big leaguer. In the history of Major League Baseball, which is approximately, this goes back to the late 1800s, there are only 27,000 Major League Baseball players in the history of the game. So that means if you took every living and those that have passed, every Major League player that's in the big dictionary, the big thick dictionary, and you put them in Fenway Park. Notice I didn't say Fenway Park. If you put them in Fenway Park, there would still be 6,000 to 7,000 empty seats. You have to start to do the math. And as the kids will always say to me, Coach, the math ain't mathin'. Well, my point is the odds of your student athlete becoming a big leaguer are so minute. They're so minute. Can it happen? Absolutely. I'm blessed. My son has, 11 years of professional baseball experience. And I really learned later in this process, and I'm going to share this, and I'm going to wrap up with this, and I'm going to move in tight here. My son just retired today, July 29th, 2025. And he sent me pictures. And I want you to see this picture, and I want you to understand when I show you this picture. Can you see that? I want everybody to watch this and see that picture. Do you see that picture? That's a 5-year-old version of Tyler Beede. And I made a lot of mistakes. I was so consumed with the destination that I did not enjoy the journey to the best of my ability or capability. And I had to apologize to my son. And I've said this a lot of times. I got so consumed with where he was going and what round and what team and, what the outcome was. It's hard. The game is hard. It's not easy. There is no magic wand. There is no special map. The baseball process is extremely challenging, and it's for those that have great perseverance, great consistency, great resiliency, and those with true passion for the sport. It goes by like that. Today, you're a junior in high school, about to be a junior in high school, and tomorrow you're graduating college. Parents, you need to take this process very, very seriously. And when it's all over, the kids will look back on the moments. Hopefully, they have a lot of great memories. They have a lot of great relationships. And hopefully, they have a degree and they have a career, whether it's within the game or whatever vocation or industry that they hope to follow. I kind of went a little off today, but I really want you to understand one basic thing. August 1st means different things for different programs, different coaches, families, and athletes. Take ownership of your August 1st. Have a plan. Have a process. I would love for you on the way out to take the time to share this video with others. I would love for you to spread the word. If I could just get everybody that has made it this far to just tell 2 people tomorrow, hey, you should subscribe to Coach Beede on YouTube or follow him on X. That would help. My dream, my goal is before, I disappear from Earth and go above to the dugout upstairs, making a difference. I like making a difference. That young man that's at Air Force Academy, I have young men at the Naval Academy, West Point. I have young men that are going to post-grad school this year. I have young men that are going to be freshmen in college at Baylor, at Vanderbilt, at Holy Cross, at Lehigh. I take pride in knowing that I played a part and helped those parents. And I love the fact that many of the boys that I've worked with in the past that just got their law degrees from Georgetown or George Washington, Stanford, they look back and they say, baseball really got me to this point in life where I can handle any adversity and any challenge that comes my way. So I want to say thank you to everybody. I'm going to continue to do the Tuesdays, and we're going to talk about the recruiting. I don't want you to panic. Don't worry. There's time. I promise you there's time. Anybody that tells you there's not a lot of time left, they're not telling you the whole truth. I really want to say thank you to everybody that took the time to ask questions. I really want, thank you, Coach. Me and my baseball nuts found a lot of insights from this. Best of luck to your son in the next chapter. Thank you, Micah. Daniel Hyde, are there going to be 27s getting offers? There'll be 27s that will get some offers, not all of them. I think a lot of college coaches now want you to go on campus, visit, talk to them. I really want you to understand those athletes that think they're going to get offers, and there will be some. There won't be a lot, but there will be some. Make sure you have an idea of who the coaches are, what schools they're from, what the coaching staff, who the coaching staff is. Be prepared. You should slow your process down. If somebody says, we're going to offer you this, take your official visit. Ask for an official visit. Ask to take a tour. Meet with the coaches one-on-one. Allow your parents to meet with the coaches. See the campus. Never, ever, ever accept an offer sight unseen until you get your feet on that campus and see how it feels. Go to a football game. Always try to visit a school when it's in session so you can see the quad and the student body and the faculty. See how it works. See how it operates. See where the logistics are. How far is the cafeteria from my dorm? How far is the field from my dorm? All of those things will matter to you as a college student. Daniel, thank you so much. And Daniel, I know that you are parent of a 2028, I believe. And so this time next year, I'm sure your phone will be ringing. Robert, thank you very much. Jose, thank you very much. Keith, as always, thank you. Sam, I hope I didn't upset you too much. Clay, anchor down. Please interact with this video. After I'm done, please just go on to the video on YouTube. If you're watching on X, you're watching on Facebook, please just go over to the YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Please share the channel with a bunch of other people. I would love to hit 30,000 subscribers by the end of September. We're at about 23,000 now. I appreciate your time. I look forward to talking with you next week. This Thursday, we'll have a coach's corner up here. I've talked to a lot of college coaches. I encourage you to watch those. And also, the membership section, we're going to be making some tweaks, but I want to let you know as a member, you're going to get access to exclusive video, Trent Mongero, Trey Hanneman. We're going to talk to Rick Staubauer for catching. We're talking to Tamara Seaman for mental performance. We're talking to Ben Fairchild and Eric Cressy related to strength, nutrition, hydration, things of that nature. We're going to be talking to all kinds of college coaches to give you the information and the resources that you need as a parent of a young student athlete all the way up and through college. I encourage you to become a member. You get to interact with me directly as well as get your evaluation. Also, take a look at the Baseball Blue Book. Baseball Blue Book, free profile. Just had a college coach, Division III coach, honest to goodness, tell me they found a first baseman, left-hand hitting first baseman, left-hand fielding first baseman in the Blue Book. It's a free profile, free. Just create a profile, put all your contact information, put your video out there. College coaches are looking at the Blue Book. Thank you, guys. Have a great week in baseball. I know it's almost back to school time. We'll talk again next week.